Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger. And my friends, in today's video, I want to talk Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode, the grand single player experience, where it sort of wound up going and where it might be going. Because it's my sincere hope that there's an expansion or an addition to the World Tour mode in a significant way, especially when it comes to the story and the narrative. Also, we do have a sponsor for today's video that is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, but more on that later. So the World Tour mode I found was very interesting, especially for newcomers, to introduce people to the world of Street Fighter and to the characters of Street Fighter, but in my opinion, it was flawed on several levels. Not even mechanically, the gameplay was fine, it was what it needed to be, but narratively I found was some of the issues, both the story that was told and for the lore of the greater Street Fighter universe. So I guess while we get into it, let's just do a little bit of a refresher of what the World Tour story was. And spoilers, I guess. But yeah, so you make your character, you're not one of the pre-established Street Fighter characters, you make your own character, you're nominally under the patronage of Luke, and he'll teach you what's up. And you go through several misadventures throughout Metro City, meeting some of the more famous characters of the Street Fighter universe. There's several sidekick style characters like Li Fan, and also Bosch, your friend slash rival. Bosch kind of goes on to do his own thing, which, well, leads to problems down the road. Not to mention the least that, he gets captured, infused with psycho power against his will, and then is dead set on a suicide mission against JP. JP, who's effectively like soft running the original country of Neishao, doing all sorts of illegal activities, all sorts of just nasty things, and hey, we got a fighting tournament too. Thing is, for JP, all these nasty plots against him, he's very, very well aware. And frankly, it's just not going to work out. Which is perfectly fine. I like this part of the World Tour mode, the aspect of JP, where he's kind of always next leveling you, he's one step ahead. It's good for the villain to be villainous. So then we go from here, and Bosch's plans to assassinate JP, I guess you could say, literally blow up in his face. Ew, still got it. Which, once again, good. Like, narratively, okay, your rival had a plan, it didn't work out, screwed up, now you're the one who's going to take out the big bad. That's a good storytelling framing, good plot device, right? You're the main character after all, Bosch isn't. That's why he blows up and you don't. So we go fight the big bad, works out. The issue arises for me is, it's actually one of the chapter titles, is called A Conflict Without Meaning, and it's a little on the nose. Because, hey, you beat him, cool, sick, you beat the bad guy, that's how video games go, but to what end? Because it's certainly to no narrative end. After you beat JP in a fist fight, tournament's already over, right? So that's done. But after you beat him, he's just like, okay, so what? Who cares? You beat me in a fight, I guess, but doesn't actually mean anything, doesn't change anything. Your friend's still a crispy chicken over in the corner. He's still running the country. Like, none of the illegal things, none of the bad guy things he's doing is gonna stop because of this. Like, business will continue on as usual, even though you quote unquote win. And he's just here insulting you. Like, this is a bad guy wins ending effectively. And if you spend 15 to 20 hours to get to this point, it's not very satisfying. Your friend dies, you didn't actually do anything, things are going to be the same they were. All right, now move along. Go clean up any side quests you have. We're done here. Go do more master quests, go grind more celery chips to give to Lily so you can learn a story, like all that kind of stuff, right? Like, you lose. That's it. Like, you are given a little bit of an epilogue to send you on your way, and Luke's like, yeah, that sucked, I guess, right? And, you'll continue on your journey to find out what strength is, whatever that may be. And this very literally ends up with you going to Metro City in, like, the main area, the main hub, and you talk to a guy, and it's like, hey, so what's strength? Oh, that happened? That sucks. How about you go try out Battle Hub and try out ranked matches? Like, the line coming up here, I wasn't too happy when I see the story ending here, right? And I see this, and they say, when you go looking for strength, it's not like a game. The journey doesn't have a real ending. And I'm like, yeah, this doesn't have a real ending. Now, does it? Like, I had fun to a point in World Tour mode. I didn't regret my time, but like, I can't say I was happy. And, you know, most people I talk to, I can't say they were happy either. Especially because narratively, like, the next thing you would do if you keep playing after this credit scene, right, is you go to JP and then you make him your master. And like, okay, man, you totally embarrassed me. You killed my friend. You're still a crime lord. And we tried to stop that. It didn't work out. But man, those like stick psycho power moves are really cool. Can I give you a bunch of celery chips and all this sort of stuff I just found on the ground in caves and stuff and hope that you'll teach me your moves? And he's like, yeah, sure, I guess. So this is all a really roundabout way to say narratively more than a bit of a disappointment. Now here's where there is some upside to this, because part of the reason I'm hopeful is the fact that they are consistently adding new content to World Tour, even if it's in small bits. Like say when they're adding new DLC characters, like say Aki here, right? So they will appear in World Tour mode, they can be a master, you can learn from them. They usually have some associated quests with them that move a little bit of lore forward. So that's good, not necessarily a story expansion, but at least there is more content, and there is a little bit of new gameplay. Like at the arenas, they've added new quests to add new battles and all that kind of stuff. So there's more content coming, but the question is it just going to be these little drip feeds, or is it going to be a lot more significant content? So we're going to talk about that in a second, but first, a word from today's sponsor. On this channel, we're really big fans of Virtua Fighter, and you know what? So is our man, Kazuma Kiryu. And wouldn't you know it that Kiryu is starring in the latest edition of the Yakuza series, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which you can pre-order now and comes out January the 26th.
Welcome to paradise.
Aloha! All right!
I can show you around now. But there's a few things you need to learn before we have a good time. You can have a little fun with some friends. And even pick up a new skill. Whatever you do, be careful. Even paradise can have its secrets.
You trying to tell me there are Yakuza in Hawaii?
Not exactly something you'd find in a guidebook, is it?
Keep your friends close. And your enemies closer.
Name's Dwight.
Nice to meet you.
Take cover!
So with the new characters coming new content, there's kind of like the big elephant in the room. Of the 4 characters, DLC, for Season 1 of Street Fighter 6, one is much more important plot-wise than the rest. Rashid and Aki are cool. Even Akuma, as popular as he is, isn't actually that important to the overall lore of Street Fighter. But who certainly is Ed. And Ed's currently slated to be our next DLC character sometime winter 2024. Because the thing with World Tour specifically is it doesn't really move the actual Street Fighter plot forward in any significant way. It's more your character's story. But the thing with Ed is he is the vessel of Street Fighter's plot moving forward. Street Fighter 6 is very markedly supposed to take place after Street Fighter 3, the first game to do so. And Street Fighter 3, the Gil era, was all taking place after M. Bison had died and Shadaloo was done. And Ed is part of Neo Shadaloo, so this is the successor organization. And the thing about that obviously it makes him an important character story-wise, right? But the Rashid and Aki DLCs in World Tour mode have been leaving little hints about Ed. And specifically, even though they may both be Shadaloo related, JP and Ed are not necessarily on the same side of things. And JP himself may have grander designs, grander plans for Ed. Now, what those may be, hey, who knows, right? But this is basically some amount of plot advancement, and this is what gives me hope that World Tour itself can be expanded on more greatly than it currently is. This may have to be like we wait for a Season 2 kind of thing instead of just like an incremental DLC patch, but still, the ability to more significantly move the actual Street Fighter universe forward with Ed and whatever the Shadaloo / Neo Shadaloo plotlines may be, The fact that they're adding new content at all gives me hopes that this could be something they have in mind. And having you as your character in World Tour to be on a grander quest, like, hey, let's do round 2 with JP. Like, I don't know if they necessarily would have to build like new areas, new environments. That might be a little much, but you can repurpose the existing Metro City and Nashal environments for, say, a Chapter 2 of World Tour. Going into Season 2, say, of Street Fighter 6, whenever that may be, we start fresh. So if you never played the game before, you still have to do the existing World Tour content. But after that, you know, we pick up Bosch off the ground, we give him a burial or something, and let's take the fight to whatever is Shadaloo / Neo Shadaloo. And then, hey, maybe along the way we can finally learn about the friggin' gorilla Ed owns. Like, you have a gorilla. You can't tease me with this information for however many years it's been now and not cash out on that. And when it comes to plot significance as well, there's still so much unaddressed and unanswered. For a post-Street Fighter 3 world, we sure haven't seen anything of the Street Fighter 3 characters or any of the effects Gil's cult has had on the world. We learned absolutely nothing about G, who was meant to be a super important character to the lore, and that sort of came and went. Everyone treated him like a big deal, but I guess it didn't matter. I've made so many videos in the past talking about the significance of Oro's and Rose's endings in Street Fighter V, where, like, Rose, once again, speaks of G as if he's a big deal, doesn't pan out, and also is very worried for the future. Like, hey, we beat Bison, as of the events of Street Fighter V, right? But stuff still messed up, stuff still feels broken, and makes a little hint here of potentially, like, time travel. I don't know, right? We speculated over it, but, like, returning to Zero, returning to Street Fighter Alpha, and obviously didn't happen. And much the same here in Oro's ending, him and Dalsum wax over Bison, you know, things still feel bad even though he has been defeated. Basically, big hints, big setups to things that don't pay off. Setting up future threats that will be dealt with, who knows, Street Fighter 7, Street Fighter 8, I don't know. But basically the lead into this is, if they're willing to, with the DLC characters, add new little bits of story, add new quests, all that kind of stuff, for World Tour, why not go all the way and just give us a full-blown expansion, a full-blown second story? All the loose ends, tie them up. Give us a chance to redeem ourselves against JP and actually move the actual story of Street Fighter forward. I guess the best limited test of this is going to happen or not will be Ed himself whenever he is DLC, because a lot of the significance they've been building up to, just in general, all kind of lies on him. But hey, that's some of my thoughts on the matter, and I would love to know what you guys think. Do you want to see a proper expansion for World Tour mode? What would you want to see, if anything, out of it? And much the same for the general story and lore of Street Fighter. Do you want to see it progress forward? Because it hasn't really progressed forward that much with Street Fighter 6, honestly. Let me know in the comments below. Capcom has proven, you know, they're willing to put long-term effort into their games, long-term support into their games. And obviously in terms of like new characters, balance revisions over the years, because Street Fighter 6 will be around for years to be sure, we will get that. But many people bought Street Fighter 6 based on the premise of World Tour mode, right? So will they get something as well? For my money, I hope so. That said, that's the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah.